What's up, y'all? It's Dr. David Roney. I hope everybody's doing well. I just parked. It is day 11 of my 31-day sort of challenge to myself to post every day to Twitter and YouTube a new video talking about finance that I always talk about. Today's I'm on call, and it's a robot day, so that's always good, man. In 2016, I got married, right? And I was a resident in Chicago, not making any money at all. I ended up switching programs, going to a new program in Michigan, and had a baby all at the same time. And we moved, and I had no money, man. I did have access to a VA loan, and I did a financial faux pas, right? Like, it was like, well, I want to own property one day, let me just buy a house, right? I was like, I'm sure this is an up and coming area. I had my quote unquote investor hat on. It's like, this house it'll rent, no problem. It will sell, no problem, right? Because it's the area that everyone wants to live in. And I bought the house zero down, right? Because that was the access I had. So zero down payment, right? I had roughly like $6,000 worth of equity, which is nothing, right? Because the appraisal came in well over, or $6,000 over the purchase price. Cool. Now, had some expenses that racked up immediately. Like, I get into the house, and the freaking air conditioner just shits the bed completely. And it was hot. I got a freaking newborn in the house. I'm at work, and I'm scrambling to try and get my home warranty, which was absolute crap, to pay for this basically new air conditioning unit. So get that taken care of, live in a house for a couple years, because I was only there for 2 years. And then it's time to sell the house. And it was just an absolute disaster. The first real estate agent I had, I felt like wasn't aggressive enough in selling the house. The second real estate agent I had was overly aggressive and was doing some shady shit, right? So the house didn't sell, right? And I'm like, what the hell happened? Why is my house not selling? This is a time where, like, the real estate market was like booming, right? But there was a lot of supply on there, so people could like be picky, choosy, and like they can nitpick everything about my house. So finally, I get a property manager through Renters Warehouse, which a lot of people use, and the guy was pretty cool. He set everything up and go from there, like, bam. Had a tenant in place, everything's cool, and then COVID hits, and my tenant just bounces. Doesn't pay the rent, doesn't like pay the water bill. He just bounces, like, doesn't tell anybody. Absconded on the lease, man, like, completely. And it's COVID, so I can't travel, right? And I'm just like, what the absolute fuck. It was terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. So then my property manager beats the streets, gets me a new tenant. But then I got to pay another fee, right? So when you get a new property or you get a new lease for a tenant, typically you pay a fee to the property manager for finding a tenant. Usually it's like 1.5 months rent, plus a little monthly fee, whatever they charge you. So then I pay another fee. So that was like, right off the bat, that was like double fees immediately within a year, right? So then I finally get a tenant in place. Cool. COVID keeps going. I can't get a hold of my property manager. I'm like, man, I really need to know what's going on with my property, because he said, hey, some repairs needed, yada yada. Can't get a hold of him. And then I finally get a hold of him, and he's just like, man, I don't work for the company anymore. I sold my portion of ownership to X, Y, and Z. I'm like, to his partner. I'm like, partner? I know you had a partner. Why? How come I never met the guy? I thought you were solo, like, whatever dude. So then his partner just Absolutely terrible. Week go by, 2 weeks go by. Again, during COVID. So I'm trying to like, man, I gotta figure out a way to find this guy, get a hold of him. So then I had to like threaten to get the board of realtors involved. And then finally he'll talk to me. I say all this because, people talk about, these situations, house hacking, this, that, and the third. Man, real estate isn't passive, and people like to tell that lie constantly that real estate is passive. It is not passive. It is not passive investing. Maybe when you get to scale, meaning you have hundreds of homes, you have a lot of doors, yada, yada, and you can hire your own team that works specifically for you and maybe that's a little bit passive, right? But the early days, it is not freaking passive. It can be a headache if you have the wrong time, wrong purpose, like wrong purchase, and you are locked in because you don't have equity like I was, right? Like now I'm in a different situation. I built up some equity in the home, and the home has appreciated in price, but Jesus Christ, man, the first couple of years was stressful, right? Like not making a lot of money, trying to carry a mortgage and a rent like that was kind of stressful, right? And like real estate isn't for everybody, which is the reason why I talk about, let's just be honest about these things. Like people like to sell the dream. Like real estate becomes passive once you're like 10 years in. That's the honesty about it, right? Or you've somehow managed to get to scale very, very quickly, and your property manager is just working for you, not for anyone else, but you're the owner, right? And they're responding to you, right? You're not outsourcing the property manager to like a different company because they don't work. You're a client of them. Not like the property manager needs to be solely responsible to you. You paying their salary, yada, yada. That's when it becomes passive, right? Because now you're an absentee owner and they're the operator. That's when it becomes quote unquote passive. It ain't passive then. You still got to answer some questions. You still got to make some decisions. Like, yeah, cool. When everything's working fine, it's going to feel like it's passive. The reality is it is not passive. It is going to take some opportunity. So real estate investing, there's different opportunities. There's single family homes, there's apartments, there's quadplexes, duplexes, yada, yada. There's a lot of different opportunities in real estate, but just know, like, it requires work. And if you aren't going to put the work in, like, it's not worth it. For me, I go back and forth, like, man, real estate would be great from a tax purpose, but it is a fucking headache, man. Absolute fucking headache. So before you like to say that, oh, I'm just going to do this passive investing thing, just remember, it ain't passive. It requires a lot of work, man. And if you aren't willing to put the work in, don't do it. Anyway, I gotta run. Talk to you later. Peace.